How's it going today, everybody? Welcome back to Troy's Hobbies. Today we are back with a brand new rock crawler from RGT that features a lot of really neat things. Portal axles, metal axle housings, and four-wheel steering. So we're going to get over on the bench and take a closer look at this thing. So let's hop on over and take a look. Alright, so we are here over here on the bench with this new RGT. This is the RGT Tracer. Tracer right here. The model number here is EX86180 Pro. It's a four-wheel steering, four-wheel drive truck. Comes with metal axle housings and a lot of that other stuff. We're going to flip over the box here in just a second and I'll show you some of those features. As you can see, it comes in two color options here on the box. We have this orange color here, and I've already peeked inside and seen the truck just to check over things to make sure it was all here in shipping and everything was received properly, and it was. Everything came shipped properly. I'm going to tell you this right now. The color on the box does not do this thing justice in real life. The color on this is much, much more vibrant, and I really am a big fan of the color of that. As you see here on this end of the box, you'll see the metal axle housings, which I will show you some more features here on the side of the box. All right, let's take a look at some of the features that you'll be finding on the truck. First and foremost, let's just start at the top of the box. We're going to go over all these features here, and then we'll take a closer look at the truck in detail once we pull it out. The first thing I want to talk about is the four-wheel steering on this truck. This truck actually comes with motor-on axle-mounted servos, or axle-mounted servos, sorry, I apologize. Four-wheel steering right out of the box. It'll have a controller and everything that'll be able to do the mixing and everything like that. But a big feature I want to talk about here is the chassis itself. This is a 4.5 millimeter thick carbon fiber chassis. This thing is actually really, really nice. Lightweight where it needs to be, but the weight is really, really down low on this truck. It has a really nice adjustable bumper. Everything you'd find on a lot of different crawlers out on the market nowadays. Metal shocks. Those things are awesome. They feel really, really nice out of the box. I've had this on my other RGT, the Crusher, which we will do a lot of comparisons with this truck with the RGT Crusher, both in specs and in size and performance and things like that. We'll also do some tire tests and things like that with the truck, and I'll show you those as well. Here's the other really big feature of the truck. The all-metal axle housings with portal axles, guys. So these have portals on them. All-metal gears on the inside. They are not CNC'd machine gears. They are like a regular powdered metal or pot metal design. But the axles are steel. The axle ends are steel, so they'll hold up really, really nice. And as long as you're not dumping like a big brushless system into this truck, realistically, these metal gears will hold up as long as you have the truck. So all ball bearings throughout. And it does say right here, cast metal portal axles. I know a lot of people have thought that these were CNC'd. It says right here on the box that they're just cast, which, you know, take it as you will. I mean, my perspective on the materials versus the performance, when it comes to crawling, materials matter to an extent, but what you really want is the weight. And these cast axle housings are really going to put the weight where you want it, and they're going to do just fine. This truck isn't going to be monster trucked around or anything like that. I'm not going to be taking it off of jumps, so it needing to be CNC'd is less important. Plastic axle housings, I would take it even a little bit easier. But now that I know that this is going to hold up to basically everything I'm going to be putting it through, no questions asked. We will be taking a look inside of these later on in the video. And we'll take a look at how much grease is in there, if they're using Loctite, things like that. These are important things to check on any ready-to-run. Especially on any kind of brand that you're buying from an overseas site like I did. So we'll just move on to the next set of features. All metal drive shafts, nice rubber compound on the tires. I'm expecting they'll be similar to the RGT Crusher as far as compound goes. This goes over the transmission. This is just your standard, you know, regular crawler style transmission gears. Nothing too fancy that you're going to find in there. This should hold up just fine. Like I said, we'll look at this and find out what kind of grease and everything they're using in there, and we'll see how long it's going to hold up longevity-wise. Other than that, it's just got some upgrades here. They've got a metal skid plate and some brass and a few little bits and bobs and things like that you can add to your truck if you want to. Again, right out of the box, though, I don't see much needing to be upgraded. So let's cut over and let's start pulling some stuff out of the box. Okay, I just want to go over a couple of things that you get in the box. First and foremost, we'll go over the transmitter. Here's your transmitter. It's basically a FlySky clone with the RGT sticker on it. It's the FSG4P, the four-wheel steer mixed model. It's going to have all of your functions. Let me see here. There we go. Cool. All right. So it's going to have all your normal functions here: steering dual rate, steering reverse, throttle trim, throttle dual rates. All of that stuff can be handled up here. And then you have your channel 3 switch here on the side, which is going to be your rear steer. Ooh, I like this. That's exactly like the resistance I love for rear steer right there. That's nice. It may look like a cheaper FlySky style controller, but I actually think it's going to do just fine as far as features go. It's nice and sleek. The little dust cover over it should keep any like nasty dirt and stuff from getting in on your dials. So, all right, decent little transmitter. Not bad. All right, so here's a quick look at the user manual. Pretty typical stuff you're going to find in here. Basic setup, charger information, battery information, transmitter information. There's how you set up your transmitter, things like that. Exploded views for any repairs. It does have full parts numbers listed and any kind of details. So there should be a full list here in the back. And RGT, I do believe, does them on the last page here. Yep, here you go. Here's all of your spare parts. They're going to be listed here with a nice picture and a number to go along with it. So if you need to source parts, this is how you would do it. So that's what comes in the box. You also get your 4 body clips, just regular steel body clips. But I did want to make note of this because I found a little 2mm mystery screw in the bottom of my box. So I'm going to be going through this crawler in heavy detail and trying to figure out if this came out of this truck or if this was just something that extra that fell into my box. If that's the case, no big deal. If it's something that fell out of the truck, I'm going to have to take a point off for quality control there. That's not something you ever want to find laying in the bottom of an RC box as an empty screw. So we'll try to figure out where that comes from. If it's just an extra screw, cool. If it isn't and it belongs on this truck, we'll have to deduct some quality points off. So let's move on and actually take a look at the truck itself. All right, before we cut into this truck, I do want to disclose that this truck was bought and paid for with my own money. I wasn't sent this by any companies. I bought this off of a website with my own cash, paid my own shipping. This is all my own opinion. I have no affiliation with any companies. This is 100% legit, my own opinion about this truck. So we're going to cut it open and we're going to take a look at the quality and everything else. Anything else loose? Doesn't seem to be anything else loose in the cardboard or the packaging. That's a good sign. Alright, you guys, here is the RGT Tracer, or the EX86180 Pro. That's a lot of numbers. So let's take a closer look at this thing, shall we? All right, let's take a look at this body shell first. Just your standard Lexan or maybe PVC. I think this is probably Lexan. Yep, it's Lexan. Orange back with a black body on the backside. Decals here. It does have clear windows, which I really, really like to see. And it has this really, really cool kind of false motor look to it, which is, it's just held on here with 2mm screws. So those just come right out. If you ever wanted to use this on another body, or if you have like a monster truck or something that has a blower, this might be a good way to get a neat little blower for your monster truck, or maybe even use this body for a monster truck down the road, maybe, potentially. Maybe a clear one. We'll see. But yeah, about your standard 2mm thick or so, whatever, Lexan body. Looks good. This color is sweet in person. It's like a burnt orange. It's like a rusty orange is kind of what I would call the color in real life. And I like it. I really like this color. I think it's really going to pop out in the Colorado sun. And under this kind of white light here in the studio, it may not pop so well. But I'm telling you, in person, it's pretty vibrant. So let's go ahead and look at some of the features of the truck. All right, so let's take a look up close with the truck here. First thing I want to kind of show off here is this carbon fiber chassis. Again, 4.5mm thick, metal cross bracing across it. I really like this battery tray. It's meant for like a 2 or a 3S battery. Probably smaller sized or standard sized lipos will fit in there. Shorty packs will fit in there really, really well if you use shorty packs. Really, really cool. Hobby Wing 1060. It's got a 20-turn 550 can motor. Your standard, I would say just standard crawler style transmission that's been around since forever and ever and ever. Your sealed receiver box under here. It does come up and underneath, so you have to take the cover off to replace any wires or servos, anything like that. But it's really simple. It's just two screws on either side, and it pops right up. Here's a look at your servos. Front and rear. They are kind of weak. It's a 15-kilogram servo, so I would highly recommend you guys upgrade those in the future. I would say that's one of the cost benefits to this truck, so to speak. If you're going to have all this carbon fiber and all this metal and everything, all these features you're getting with rear steer and all the features you get with this truck, you kind of have to take a hit somewhere. And in this case, it's kind of in the servo basic electronics department, which for a crawler is not that big of a deal. Just you would look for maybe some higher torque servos out of this, maybe out of the box. But they are metal gear, so they should hold up a good long while. But like I said, I'll run this truck out of the box for a while, and then I'll probably bump these up to something else. Probably just in like 25-kilogram Amazon servos. Nothing special. This truck isn't really going to be a competition rig for me personally. I'm just going to go out on the rocks and have fun with it on the trails. I don't really do the competition crawling stuff. That's not really my gig. So I just go out whenever I want to go on a trail or a hike. And now I have 2 crawlers. So me and my girlfriend can go out and have fun together. And she can start getting more comfortable with these RC trucks. So those are some of the up top features. Let's look at some of the rubber compound. The rubber compound on this is pretty dang nice. Again, it's a lot like the RGT Crusher as far as this tire compound goes. The tread is a little different. It's a little bit flat. So my concern on the rocks is maybe just a little bit of slippage. But if you press in, you can feel it grip your fingers and your hands. So, I mean, it may offer some better bite than we think. It does have good sidewall grip. The sidewall grip right here is really, really nice. Just a standard plastic glued rim, not bead locks, not steel wheels. So you could add some extra weight. I've got a set of trio bead locks with some Enduro Super Swampers on it that we can throw on this truck, and some other tires and things like that we'll be testing on this truck as well. So we'll be looking at tire compounds. Here's a look at the shock absorbers. Again, good quality metal shock absorbers. They do have like a plastic collar here, but you know, that's no big deal. It is a metal cap, but you know, they work really, really well. They're very, very smooth. One thing I will say is these body posts here act kind of as a bump stop against the servo mount. If you look right there, they bump right up on the metal right there and kind of limit the up and down travel, but it's only by like 0.5 millimeter. So you're still getting almost maximum up and down travel, but it does not affect side to side travel. So crawling travel and things like that, the sway bar, or sorry, the servo mount is out of the way. There are no sway bars on this truck. Sorry, I work on too many monster trucks. So let's look at some of the axle components. All right, so we're here at the front of the truck, and I kind of want to go over a couple of the things, over some of the fit and fitment on this truck. Most of the truck seems to be put together well, but you are going to want to go through this truck and kind of check your Loctite. So if you can see here, there's actually some play with my servo mount, both back and forth and side to side. Yeah, I can actually rock that back, like that's rocking side to side, not just the whole truck. So I'm going to have to go through these screws and make sure everything's Loctited. Like I said, any RC car, it doesn't matter the brand, where you bought it from, what stickers on the side of it. When you buy your RC car, you really should go through it and check every nut and bolt. Make sure everything that needs Loctite has it. Check that every nut and bolt on there is there. So far, that mystery screw, I haven't found it. So as far as I can tell, it's just an extra screw. But that's why we go over RCs when we get them out of the box. Before I even get it out on the trails, we're going to go through some of the axle components, and we're going to check the grease and some other things. And we're just going to do that right here. I'm not going to show you the entire teardown. I'm going to kind of work on it off camera, but I'm going to show you some of the different points to go over. Anything that you see going in metal on metal contact like this, you need to go over all this stuff, all these bolts, everything, and make sure they're all Loctited. If they're not, throw some Loctite on them and put them back in. It's a good opportunity. What we'll be doing, and I'll be showing you guys, is we'll see how much grease is in here in your pumpkin, in your locker. We're going to go through and see how much grease is in your portals. And we're going to do that front and rear. If, and that's if, I like the levels of grease in these components, in the exposed components, if there's an acceptable level, I will leave the internals alone. The transmission, because it's a simple 3-gear transmission, it doesn't require as much. These are going to be in weather. So if there's not enough, what I consider an acceptable amount of grease, I'll be putting some red and tacky marine grease type compound in there to make up the difference. So make sure you use the same kind of lithium grease that they do and go over everything with Loctite. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'll cut back over here once I can show you some of the internal gears. There you go, guys. I just wanted to give you a quick look inside the portal axles. As you can see, there's absolutely no grease in there. None whatsoever on the bearings or the gears or anything. Same goes up here for the ring gear. Let me pull the truck up closer to you guys so you can see it. There's just like the thinnest layer of grease on there. So I'm going to throw my good marine grease in there, and we'll be back off to the races. All right, everybody. We actually have a couple things to talk about. After inspection of the truck, I have a couple of things I can report on. First and foremost, you absolutely have to go through every nut and bolt on this truck and put thread lock on it. Not a single bolt was thread locked. I found the mystery screw. It was the lower knuckle bolt that goes into the bottom of the portal axle. Again, it wasn't Loctited, so it had just come and worked itself out through shipping and fallen out. The servo mount was loose. Everything was loose. So I have to go through all of these little portal bolts I got to put in, and I got to Loctite them and put them back in. Um, I'm sure at some point I'm going to have to do a complete rebuild on this axle. The grub screws, those seem to have Loctite. They seem to be doing just fine. It's like some things they put some thread lock on, and then other things they just completely forgot. It's kind of funny to me, but I've always said if it even from the factory, these people should know that metal on metal contact requires thread lock. However, the caveat to that is I don't think that these axles are anything more than just a ready to run out of a box put onto the truck. What I mean by that is there's no grease in these whatsoever. There's just the tiniest little bit of grease on the ring gear. That's it. There's nothing in the portals. No thread lock on any of these, which to me says, just from what I know through my manufacturing knowledge, is that they got these, from wherever they get their supply from, and they immediately just put them on the truck without doing too much quality control. Had they taken 10 minutes to open up one of these axles and quality control these nuts and bolts, they'd realize that, hey, maybe we ought to put a little more grease in these. Maybe we ought to throw some thread lock on it. But you know what? When you're mass producing these vehicles, oversights like this are going to happen. And you can't necessarily blame the manufacturers for it. They've got to get these things on the market to us in our hands to review, to play with, to break, to fix. They're never going to learn unless we have them in our hands, right? So these are just little critiques that, just for quality control's sake, they can improve on in the future. Nothing major, you guys. I was able to find the bolt. I found where the bolt goes. It fit perfectly. A little bit of good old blue thread lock, and problem solved. I'm going to go through all the other bolts. We're going to add some of my special marine grease here to it, and we should be up and running. I'm not going to show you the back, the rear axle, but I'm going to do all the same work that I did to the front on the rear. I'm going to go through it, nut and bolt on it, make sure everything that needs thread lock has it, even down to your grub screw on your hex nut. Even that, you need to put thread lock on that too. So every little bit of this truck, you need to thread lock it. I don't believe that the transmission is going to have that issue because these screws go into plastic. So the transmission should be good to go. My only concern is maybe a lack of grease, but we can address that in the future if it starts making noise. I'm sure I'll have to replace the gears in it at some point anyways. So if that ever happens, we'll address it then. I went through the whole truck and greased everything. I greased up the portals. I greased up the differentials, the spool, and I took out the center transmission and greased it. You need to grease it in two different spots. There's a reduction gear in the front as well as the 3 transmission gears that are standard. So you need to grease all that. Also, make sure you go through and Loctite the whole truck, like I said before. That includes your drive shafts. Make sure you reclock your drive shafts and Loctite those back up. And this thing should be ready for its first fire up. So let's go ahead and talk about batteries and battery capacity and what you can expect out of the crawler. First and foremost, we're going to fire it up on 2S just to get a basic startup of the vehicle. That way we can get a sense of the steering power and the wheel speed. So I'm going to go ahead and just set it up on the center here. That way it's not going to roll. Get this big monster truck tire out of your way. If you guys ever need a RC stand, Losi LMT tires are a great RC stand. Just so you know. Alright, so 5200 milliamp Z-Power, 2S LiPo. Let's see, and it is... Let me see if it's set for LiPo out of the box. I cannot tell. Give me just a second to make sure this is set to LiPo out of the box. Alright guys, here's a good reason to read your manual. So I wasn't sure if this was set to LiPo or nickel metal battery out of factory, but if you look in here, you can find out how it's calibrated right here through your orientation right there. Gives you a good thing. So it's already set for LiPo, so we can in fact fire it up on 2S right out of the box. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn it back around. One thing I want to note is you'll have to put your battery in first, and something kind of weird about this crawler is the on-off switch is actually on the bottom, which I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to see how that performs. If it hits a rock or something and powers the truck down, I could see that as a potential concern, and we may have to rethink this ESC receiver box thing. Alright, 2S slides right in perfectly. I'll give you some decent battery straps, so multiple size batteries ought to fit very well. You shouldn't have to worry too much about that. So let's go ahead and connect it and fire up this bad boy. Alright. Power on the transmitter first. Alright, and then the on-off switch is here on the bottom of the truck. Alright, 2 beeps. Alright, there's the steering on the front. How does that do it on the rear? Let's see here. Ah, okay. So, your rear steer is actually mixed through your channel 4 button here. I thought it was going to be channel directional like that. That would have been really nice. Oh, that does something you don't want. But yeah, this controls it right here. So first click is just front steer. Second click is your crab steer. Third click is your 4-wheel, which is what I'll probably leave it in most of the time. And then you have just rear steer. So we're going to leave it in 4-wheel for now. Yeah, we'll leave it right there for now. So let's go ahead and check the 2S wheel speed on this. So we'll start off with low motion control first and see. That's kind of the slowest you can go. Not the best low motion control, but still not too bad for ready to run. Let's pick up the speed. About 25%. That's full throttle. So you hit full. Good drag brake, not too strong. But it's definitely a mechanical drag brake in this, so gotta watch that. So decent wheel speed on 2S. Nothing too crazy. Let's see how these turn with some resistance on the ground with the tires, because these are only 15 kilogram servos, so we got to check that. Hey, not bad really. This is a sticky pit mat, so not struggling too poorly. All right. Well, looks like it runs good on 2S. Let's go ahead and power it off. All right. And we'll switch it out for 3S. Now the 3S, I wanted to show you guys a couple of different options here on different battery sizes and if they'll fit. Now obviously, the standard size 2S pack fits. So this 3S 4000 milliamp will fit just fine. This will probably be the one I typically run in this, just because it's an easy fit. And 4,000 milliamps in a crawler is not too bad for capacity. But just say for the sake of experimentation, let's see if we can put one of these full-sized 5,000 milliamp Gens Aces in here. So if you wanted to go on a longer journey and you need a higher capacity battery, these, yeah, that's what I thought. These unfortunately will not fit. So, or at least not to the sticky part of the Velcro. They will stick, but if you roll it any kind of way, you're risking potentially losing the battery. So you may want to get some longer battery straps, which is a simple fix. It's nothing too crazy. One more thing I did want to point out. This truck has a spot for a servo mounted winch. It's got this really good metal front bumper, and it's got the mounting points for another servo to go in here to run a front winch. So, man, it's pretty sweet, I must say. Like, I'm pretty happy with this truck. There's just a couple of little things that you would want to change just for like personal taste and things like that. But considering that this battery won't fit, I would recommend getting some longer battery straps if you want some higher capacity run times. Otherwise, you can go crazy with your 2S if you're going to run a lower voltage. You can run as much milliamp hour in this as you want, have long capacity with 2S, or you can do a little bit shorter run on your 3S with these smaller size cases. So that's going to cover batteries. Let's talk wheels and tires next. So give me just a few minutes to get things gathered, and we're going to talk about wheel tires and wheels, tires, and options, and we're also going to compare it next to the RGT Crusher. All right. Similar steering. All right, just want to do a bit of a size comparison and kind of a spec comparison between my RGT Crusher here and the new RGT Tracer that I bought. So we'll just lift this up. This has a flip top body, whereas this one's just a standard cab over the chassis that you have to use body posts for. This is a front engine design with the servo mounted up front. It does have a reverse geared drive shaft gearbox in it and transmission. And then it's pretty much the same axles and a lot of the same components as this one, but it's plastic instead of the metal. It's straight axles, no portals. The only upgrade it has on it so far are these trio bead locks, which I'm going to be swapping around and showing you guys and modeling off these different wheel and tire combinations on this truck. It actually looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to show you guys the body that I'm going to be running on this truck in the future once I do a custom paint job. So that's kind of a look of them side by side. They're similar spec. The Crusher has a 27 turn axial motor in it. This has the stock 20 turn motor in it. They still have the stock speed controller in this, stock in this. Everything else is stock on both of the trucks. So they'll be getting out on the trails here real soon. And we'll be having some fun with them. So let's check out these wheels and tire options on the RGT Tracer. All right, here's the Tracer in its stock form, stock wheels and tires. Let's go ahead and switch it up to another set. All right, this is what it looks like with the stock RGT Crusher tires. These tires are actually custom cut myself. I cut these out myself. This isn't the standard tread pattern you would get on it. I cut them out to kind of mimic like a super swamper or something like that. But they have a nice, like a medium to soft foam, but they're a little bit bouncy. So that's kind of my complaint with them. But they offer really nice tire deflection if you like your crawlers to have that. Here's a look at the tread pattern. If you guys can see that up close, I cut out all these lugs, basically going down each and every row, and basically turned it into like a comp crawling tire. Not a bad mod to do with your stock RGT tires if you're not happy with the tread. Just cut them out. I think I used nail clippers, just regular household nail clippers, and just cut those treads right off the way I wanted to. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next set of crawling tires. These will be some BF Goodwrench all-terrains. Alright everybody, the next tire option we have are these old BF Goodwrench all-terrain TAs from, I believe these came from an Axial from way back in the day. I'm not really sure which one it was. If you guys know, let me know which one it was. But I got these things a long time ago, and they're kind of a really lightweight tire, again, like the RGTs. So they don't offer the best as far as like tire deflection. They kind of have like a medium foam, but I feel like they'll do okay on the rocks. These may just be better for like a show and shine truck or something like that. Or if you're doing like a street truck. I may keep these for a different build later in the future, but we're still going to give them a shot out on the rocks at some point. So let's go ahead and move on to the big dogs, which are my trio beadlocks with the Injora Super Swampers on them. Well, guys, I think I found my favorite crawler wheel and tire combination pretty much ever made. These trio 5 spokes and these Super Swampers look amazing together. The compound is excellent. They do have a dual stage foam in them. So it's set up more for a truck with more weight on it like this. Man, it is beautiful. And it adds about 40% more weight to the truck all around, and it adds it evenly. So you're not having any funky weight distribution issues with these wheels. So it'll be really interesting to see what kind of performance advantages these wheels will have on the rocks compared to the other options that were just, those were all plastic wheels, super lightweight, and different types of foams and compounds. So the next couple of options I'm just going to show you guys real quick just for fun. These are just some fun goofy tires. Let's just call them goofy tires for whenever I want to be messing around. All right, you guys. I don't know about you, but I kind of get like mega truck or like pull-in truck vibes off these wheels and tires. Check these bad boys out. These are, I believe they came off the ECX Barrage Doomsday truck from back in the day. They actually kind of look unique on here. I like them. Now, obviously, they're not going to perform at all on the rocks. They're not going to do anything. This would be just for like going out and wheeling my truck on a random place at a random time. You can take the drag brake off of this, and maybe if I run this truck as a tough truck in my monster truck series, maybe that's what I'll do with these tires, because they seem really fitting for like a mega truck or a tough truck, something like that. I mean, nice fat wide stance, V monster truck treads, the correct offset to be run with portal axles. So, I mean, this is pretty cool. I think I stumbled on a happy accident right here. Let's go ahead and step it up another notch and put these big tires on. Okay, well, I tried these big old monster truck tires, but unfortunately, they're not really meant to work with a portal axle because the top of the knuckle rubs on the inside of this beadlock ring. These are actually beadlock wheels, but they don't actually fit this truck. So, oopsie daisy. Looks neat, but it won't work. So maybe I'll throw a couple more photographs of some other wheel and tire combinations that I try out. I think realistically, the ones you saw on the table today are the ones I'm going to go with, minus these things. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you, while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the body I'm going to be using. This is a J-Concepts monster truck body. It's the 1979 Ford F-250. Here is your part number. It's part number 0305. It's basically like a Bigfoot body or something similar to that. It's a similar wheelbase. So what I think I want to do is kind of make like a pulling truck body or a mud truck body out of it, and kind of do something unique with it. I do like this stock body, but I'm not a huge fan of dovetails, just personal preference. So I think I'm going to throw this J-Concepts body on it. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. All right, everybody. I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the RGT Tracer. This rock crawler, for the money you pay for it, it's in the, I would say, the $400 to $500 range, between $450 to $500 range if you're buying it at full retail. This thing is packed with features. The metal axle housings, the portal gears, the four-wheel steering, the carbon fiber chassis. Those are huge talking points. The The servo on axle steering, really, really good. But I would have to give it a couple of faults. In the, for instance, the electronics. The electronics are definitely budget electronics. The 1060 ESC, while will work just fine for crawling, you're going to find you're going to want to step up to something more programmable and something a little bit more robust. So in the future, we'll be putting a more crawler-specific setup in this. Probably brushless. I'm thinking probably a hobby wing system, maybe the fusion system, an axe system if I can find one of those ever again. I don't know. We'll figure out what I want to put into that. It will get a much smoother system overall. Secondly, the servos. The servos are pretty weak overall. 15 kilograms is not too great for a crawler. The speed isn't as important, but the torque is, and these things are pretty much lacking in torque. So I'll probably be putting some aftermarket servos in it. We'll just see what I get in the future. Nothing crazy. You guys know me. I like to keep things kind of on a budget. But the big thing, the big thing, is the quality control on this. This is my big markdown on the truck. I usually don't talk negatively about my vehicles, but this one was noticeable. There were a lot of loose screws on this truck. One of the screws had completely fallen out in the box, on the knuckle, on the bottom knuckle that goes into the portal axle. So I had to go through every nut and bolt on this truck right from the box and Loctite everything. I had to put grease on all the gears just to come up to my standards. Some people will have different standards depending on where they live. That's all personal preference. I put my grease in my truck the way that I always apply it, and now it's up to my standards. So at that, I'm just going to have to give it, I mean, if I'm going to rate it out of 10, I would give this truck out of the box, based on what you get, you're getting an 8 out of 10 truck. The 2 points I have to mark down are simply on the electronics, which can be upgraded, and the quality control, which honestly you should do on every RC you ever get. It doesn't matter the brand, doesn't matter the distribution company, it doesn't matter where it comes from. You should always be your own quality control when it comes to RC. So if it's not up to your standards, don't run your vehicle. And that's just, I would say that's just a word of wisdom, if anything. So that's going to do it for today on Troy's Hobbies. I want to say thanks for sticking along with me. It's kind of a longer video. It's been a while since I've talked to you guys, and it's been a while since I've done kind of a face-to-face personal video like this. We've been really focused on the monster truck stuffs here on this channel, and it will continue to be that way. The monster truck stuff is that's my number one passion in RC, is RC monster trucks. The bashing, the crawling, and everything else we're going to get back to, but it's going to be in between the monster truck series. That's pretty much how the format of the channel is going to be. I have noticed a little bit of a decline in the viewership, which is to be expected. I've kind of went off and become a little bit more specialized with the monster truck stuff, and that's okay. But I am going to continue to put out regular content like this, so if there are people that want to see me do more unboxings and back to regular bashing content, leave that down in the comments and let me know. For the time being, that's going to be it for you guys. Just make sure you guys follow me on all my social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Troy's Hobbies RC. Follow the Colorado RC Monster Truck Challenge, and check out troyshobbies.com for all of our event information and things like that. And that's a good way to get a hold of me and things like that. So that's going to do it for today on Troy's Hobbies. I want to say thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.